Alright everybody, welcome to another broadcast with KatraReplays. I am going to go ahead and show a first-person view of a game that I have recently played, been meaning to go ahead and upload this. I tried to have audio while I was playing, but it didn't quite work out. The audio somehow desynced when rendering the first video. So, here we go, and as you can see, I'm ranked 25th in Platinum. My opponent was Paul Wall. And this ended up being a Zerg versus Zerg. This is a first-person view, so what does end up happening is you can see my clicks, my movements of my mouse, and kind of where I'm at as a skill level for a player for Platinum level. I know that HD StarCraft generally does his daily ladders, and you can see his view from first person. When I open up, I go ahead and I try and do my drone split best as possible. I know that my opponent's Zerg and he knows that I'm random, so he has no idea really what I'm going to be doing. Random can give you the added benefit of giving you the surprise advantage to where I could just do a 6-pull and he'd never know, but as Zerg, in order to do a 6-pull, you have to know where your opponent is. And since this is a 4-player map, it's really, you have a 30% chance of guessing actually correctly of where he is. I typically get my Overlord on 10, let my drone count build up, and what I was going to go ahead and do is I was going to try and go for maybe an early pool, or maybe an early hatchery. And I did go ahead and I did send a drone out to scout while I still continued to kind of micro in my base. As you can see, I did go ahead and hotkey my hatchery to 1, and that's what I usually do, hotkey hatcheries next eye, and command centers to 1. And I do have my drone rallied, just to go ahead and check out the bases, try and find my opponent, even though that I know that I'm going to be tipping my hand a little early. I want to know if he went for some early aggression, or if he's going to go ahead and go for a really fast expand. So I'm still back at home macroing. As you can see, my minerals are a little bit high, but I'm trying to save for a hatchery because I was going to go for a 15 hatch. But I saw a hatchery that got laid down. I'm thinking to myself, that's really early. And as you can see, my drone's going to come in here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scout his base. And I take a look, and I'm going to go ahead and nibble on the spawning pool, but I don't see the saturation in the mineral line. And then I go ahead and I try and nibble on one of his drones, and was going to go ahead and try and get out, but he brought 3 drones. I lost the drone. Wasn't too worried about it, because I know I'm ahead of him in economy. So as you can see, I'm getting my spawning pool a lot later than he is, and he is able to go ahead and get the scout, but I'm not going to pull my drones to try and kill it. I'll pull maybe 1, which I did because he started to attack my hatchery. And I know that he's just really far behind, and so I'm just going to go ahead and try and macro up and just saturate my mineral line. As you can see, I have a really good saturation. I'm going to go ahead and try and start getting some gas, and just try and get a few army units to see what happens, because I know he doesn't have the resources to attack me. At least so I thought. And his drone runs away, and I do go ahead and tag the Zelnaga watchtower. I see that the Overlord's there, and I didn't really care about holding it, just because if he did go ahead with some early aggression, I don't have any Zerglings up, so it wasn't going to be a real big loss if I just lost a drone. Now here he does attack. He does attack with 4 Zerglings, and I was like, 4 Zerglings, not a biggie. And 4 Zerglings aren't really going to be able to go ahead and kill my hatchery. And I just start trying to focus down his Zerglings one at a time, still trying to keep my macro up. And I was just going to run around my hatchery until my queen popped, because as you saw briefly, I was making a queen. And he didn't do much damage to it. He didn't do a whole lot of damage to my hatchery, and I'm just going to keep continuing to try and focus on my macro. I'll eventually out macro him because I have the better economy, I had the better saturation, and he unfortunately has an Overlord coming to my base, and I'm going to go ahead and take it out. It's a free kill. I have enough Zerglings if he tries to go ahead and bring down 6 or 7 Zerglings to snipe it. And as you can see, he tried to bring a drone and some Zerglings in, but he went ahead and he backed out. I don't know if he saw how many Zerglings I have, and you can see here I kind of supply blocked myself, trying to go ahead and kill his Overlord. I am going to go ahead and try and get speed. I'm trying to still continue to go ahead and build up a decent sized army. And since I did see the army wandering around the map, I wanted to check. I wanted to see, alright, where's his army? What's he doing? Am I in danger of an attack? Did he just kind of feign the economy? Is he trying to sneak in expansion? And I wanted to check up to the top right to see if he really did try and sneak an expansion or a gold or anything else like that, because I don't want to be surprised if all of a sudden he thinks that he's really far behind. And so here you can just see I'm just trying to macro. I know that he did go for that fast expand. He went for that early aggression, so I am going to go ahead and try and get some roaches in case he comes at me with roaches. And with this, you can kind of see my macro is slipping a little bit just because I'm trying to micro around the map. My queen's energy is getting a little bit high, and I come up here, I take a look, and I see he's got a spine crawler, he's got 2 Zerglings, he's got another spine crawler that's morphing in, and right here I think, ooh, free queen. So I wanted to try and snipe the queen. He's running around his spine crawlers, and I do end up sniping the queen, and I see the roaches pop. And from there, I know that I'm in trouble, and I'm trying to stay on top of my macro, trying to get some overlords out, trying to go ahead and get some more Zerglings, and I'm gonna try and do a quick push to either get back up into his main base, because that's where he has his spine crawlers, and I know that he probably doesn't have a whole lot of defense or roaches yet, because I saw that at his natural expansion it wasn't quite fully saturated. And right now, since I know that he has his second base up and running, I wanted to try and get a third so I didn't fall behind. And I am going to go ahead and push in here with a wave of Zerglings, so that way he has to go ahead and he has to focus on those Zerglings, while my other Zerglings go ahead and go in the back and try and take out his drone's spawning pool. And I was just really trying to get any kind of damage that I could. He just had a lot of drones and roaches. He had a lot more than I had actually anticipated. But I did do a little bit of economic damage, and I know that he's going to have to come back, and he's going to either have to retaliate or take another base. And there's me trying to put a roach in order to mine gas, because the drones don't do it well enough. From here, I'm still trying to work on economy, I'm still trying to macro, and I'm going to go ahead and go into a transition of air. He had a lot of roaches. I would probably say, just with that glance, he probably had about 15 or more roaches. And I'm trying to macro up, I'm trying to transition into my air phase, so that way I can go ahead and attack his back door and maybe catch him off guard a little bit. And I am going to go ahead and try and poke up here with my roaches, and with my roaches he's going to go ahead and he's going to chase him, and by having him move his entire army out, I'm going to be able to go ahead and do another run by, maybe snipe a queen, snipe a few more drones, and just do a little bit more economic damage. I think I get maybe 1 or 2 drones there, and I sacrifice a few Zerglings to see how many roaches he has, and he has a good number of roaches. Now, since I have the Zerglings are going to be able to absorb a lot of the damage from the roaches, and I'm trying to still macro back at home. I'm going to focus on my macro before I go ahead and I try and attack. And moving your army together is the best thing that you can do. And as you can see, my Zerglings move in, I take out the 1 spine crawler, he has a lot of roaches, and I'm going to do fairly well here, even though that I don't have any upgrades for my roaches. And I see that he pulls off all of his drones, and I'm just going to let the Zerglings fall and try and micro back, because he's going to be able to macro really, really hard at his home base, and I'm not going to win that battle. So I'm not going to go ahead and throw away all of my roaches. And I have about 8 roaches, and it's just not worth throwing everything away for little to no gain, and where he can counterattack me and I'm defenseless. It's one thing that you end up learning in StarCraft of when to attack, when not to attack, and when to pull back. As Day 9 says, it really just comes down to instinct and practice. And I'm going to go ahead and also try and take my gold. I do end up supply blocking myself again, but as you can see, I do have a trust fund because I haven't been the best on my macro back at home, because you just saw there that my queen had 72 energy. So I've missed about 1.5 transfuses so far. And I do go ahead and I do lay down that gold expansion, and I'm trying to, I also went ahead and hotkeyed this other expansion over here on the left, and I'm going to just try and get this other expansion up and running, because it is kind of a hidden expansion, but it's also something that I can fall back on in case he snipes my natural, or in case, you know, he gets into my main. I still have a functional mining base. And with this, I'm still just trying to go ahead and macro. I'm building more drones, trying to saturate another mineral line. I'm trying to get more gas because I'm running a lot of mutalisks, and the gas is probably the most important resource to me right now. I keep supply blocking myself with overlords. I did try and spread my creep a little bit, but I was more focused on the mutalisks than anything else. And as you can see, I'm just sending mutalisks over to the left-hand side of the map, because what I wanted to do is attack his mineral line, and then with my Zerglings, and then have my Mutalisk just go ahead and try and pretty much obliterate everything. And all I did was just send in Zerglings, and you can see that he has a ton of drones. I'm going to get a lot of free drone kills, but I wanted to also go ahead and try and supply block him by just taking out a lot of his overlords, if I could. And I see the Hydralisk Den, so the Hydralisk Den becomes my top priority. I wanted to go ahead and kill that before I started killing drones, and as you can see, a lot of drones go down. And the Zerglings didn't really do a whole lot. They ended up being obliterated by the roaches. I snipe out the infestation pit, and then I'm going to go ahead and return home. And as you can see, I went ahead and macroed home as well, in case he happened to maybe get a few Hydralisks out, that he might be able to go ahead and snipe it. And as you can see, he's just trying to go ahead and take out my natural expansion. I wasn't really too worried about it, because again, I had the gold just popped, I had this other expansion, and he probably thought that he did a lot of economic damage. And all of a sudden, right there, he went ahead and he burrowed. And I'm thinking, does he have movement? No, he doesn't have movement, because I don't see it. And because you can normally see patches on the ground of the roaches moving. And since I had stayed on top of my macro for relatively most of the game, I'm going to be able to resaturate that mineral line pretty easily. And I made an Overseer just because I wanted to try and take out a lot of the roaches, since if he didn't have a burrow, I'd be able to take a lot of them out even while they were regenerating underground. And as you can see, I'm just flying around, and I'm going to go ahead and hunt him down. He loses about 5-6 roaches. I do see that he has another Hydralisk Den. I want to go ahead and take that out. I see that he's making another layer in case I snipe off his main base. And he's made a few Spore Crawlers. And as you can see right there, there's some Hydralisks, and I'm going to go ahead and try and take those out for free kills. Try and keep his Hydra count down to where he's not going to be able to build up and just take out all of my Mutalisks. Even though I have 14 Mutalisks right now, 14 Mutalisks can do quite a bit of damage to Hydras. I was going to run away, but I see that he has just a really small Hydra count. And I'm just going to try and take out his spawning pool. I'm going to try and take out his other production structures if I can, to make sure that he can't do any type of mass Zergling counterattack on me. I was going to take out his Roach Warren, take out his lair. And right here, I knew that he still has a decent number of roaches, and I don't have very much that's back at my base to really defend, except for the Mutalisks that are popping out. And you can see right here, I am under attack. And he has his roaches, but I have a few Zerglings and a few Mutalisks, and I have roaches somewhere on the map. And I was going to go ahead and pull those Mutalisks that I was attacking his base with home, just because if he had pushed in, he might have been able to do a little bit more damage. But as you can see, I mined out my main base, so I went ahead and transferred everything over to my expansion. And I'm pretty much right here just trying to finish sniping out a lot of his tech structures, his main base, trying to keep his income down. I know that he has his backdoor expansion. I don't know if it's up and saturated, but it's going to take him a while because he can't do a drone transfer. And you can see he's still got quite a few minerals that are still there. And he's got some really good creep shred. I didn't know what he was building on the creep, so I went ahead and took a peek, and he was building some spore crawlers. He brings up his Hydralisk and a queen. Since he has the creep shred in his base, it really helps. But I went ahead and tried to snipe off all the drones that he had in the back, so he couldn't resaturate it. I got an idea of how many Hydras he had, and I went ahead and started to go ahead and kill his Hydras. And with only one queen, he can't keep him alive for very long. But he did take out, as you can see, he took out a good number, but it was just good game. He couldn't expand. So I hope you guys enjoy the first-person view, and I'll see you guys next time.